YouTube, Rob Road here. I have a little bit of a winter update for you. Obviously, we've been doing a little bit of work on the C5. You're probably asking, why is the front bumper off? Well, I had a problem with the outside air temperature sensor on this thing, and yes, I know you can access it without taking the front bumper off. It was not reading correctly on the HVAC control inside the car, which really isn't a big deal, except for when it's reading very low, it won't allow the AC to engage in the summertime. So if you disconnect the sensor, it will default to 69 degrees, which is fine, and you can run it that way. But I wanted to get it fixed. So at any rate, I replaced the sensor, which is right down here. And when I took the connector off, the connector was pretty green and pretty crusty with corrosion. So I decided to get a new pigtail, which I bought an AC Delco pigtail off of Amazon, and started cutting back the wires to the old sensor, and kept cutting and cutting, and it really took me a while to get back to some decent wire. I went all the way back to the main harness, which I did not get into. I just basically got to within about 2 inches of the main harness. Let me see if I can show you. I'm not sure if I can or not, but basically right back into this area, and stripped the wire back, and it was okay. It wasn't great, but I figured I'd give it a shot and see if I got good connection. So I soldered up the wires and put some weather packs, or put the gel weather pack type connector on there, and sealed her up and plugged it in, and it seems to be working fine. So I could have done all that with the front end on, but I had some other ideas with the front end, so I figured I'd take the front nose off. A couple of things. Taking the front nose off of this thing is pretty easy, so I don't know why a lot more people don't do it when they're doing work on their front end. It took me about 15 to 20 minutes. It's nothing but, 8mm screws and a couple of nuts. Now I can tell you, going back on, it's going to be a two-person job. Most for the biggest reason is the nuts that hold on the edges of the front bumper, just getting those lined up properly. So I'd give it about a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as removal, and it gives you a lot of access to a lot of things very easily. The first thing I did was, both my fog lights were burnt out, and I actually replaced those with some LED yellow lights, and they work great. Obviously I haven't driven the car yet with the lights on, but when you hit the switch, they look good, and I think they're going to work out just fine. The other thing I did, I'll show you. Come into the garage here, there's the front fascia. I did go with the smoked lenses, and actually, yeah, I went with the switchbacks on the for the turn and the DRLs, and I just went with an LED on the smaller light. And the only problem I had was, and I read this on the forums, but when I removed the screws on the left-hand side bracket, the screw busted. And I tried to draw it out and try to do everything I could to get it out, and it's just not going to come out. So I had to order a new bracket off of the auction site, and it was 20 bucks, and it's going to be here any day. So as soon as I get that, I'll get these things installed into the fascia. Another thing I'm going to do is I've got a VariRam coming, and I spoke to VariRam today, and I asked them, hey, can I install the VariRam onto the fascia here while it's off the car, and then install it onto the car? And they said, oh yeah. They said it's a whole lot easier to do it that way. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to install the VariRam ducts onto the front fascia, and then attempt to basically just work the fascia into the onto the front end. This is upside down, by the way. So if you think it looks funny, it is. It's upside down. So at any rate, that's kind of where we're at. We did some LEDs on the fog lights. We've got LEDs for the DRLs and the turn signals, and the new smoked fog lights. Fixed the temperature sensor. Also, I put an LMC5 in. One day when I fired it up, I got the 2 mile-an-hour shutdown, and the previous fix for the column lock had been done by the dealer. My column does not lock at all, but I knew that the other part was not taken care of, so I did order an LMC5, and I put that in. It took about 20 minutes or so. It's a very easy procedure, and if you ever have the column lock or the 2 mile-an-hour shutdown, I would highly recommend putting the LMC5 in. So outside of that, that's kind of where we're at. Car's just been sitting, covered. I've got the black winter wheels on it. They're just the wagon wheels, and I spray painted them with the plastic dip, and I think it makes the car look pretty cool. Although I have the polished 5 stars that I run in the summertime. All right, that'll wrap it up for me. Let me know if you have any questions. If you've never seen the C5 with the front nose removed, this is what it looks like. So not much to it, but again, very easy to get to all of the front end wiring and all that good stuff. It was very easy to take off. Don't be afraid to do it to yours if you need the clearance. And have a good day.